So I want to share about the two perspectives, and this is from me, but also from a lot of my research, how it looks when there is the roller coaster in the trauma bond. So I could show you the image, but I think it's better if I go through it with you. So this is the image. It's basically two images. So maybe I'll do a quick drawing now, so you see what we're looking at. Like, and we'll go through it both times. So we start at the point where just living life and triggered, activated. Now, as, let's say we call it triggered, the person got really activated and they're like having their response. So I'm going to use the example of, like, instead of fight or flight or freeze, there's this fawning, right? So it's like clinging, idolizing, adoration, like you can't do any harm, like trying to even like manipulate them into like fixing it, like before, like, please do something, it's almost too late. And then it's a shattering, a discouragement. Then there's like this pain pit. It's like what people call ugly crying, like that kind of vibe. And as it starts to go up, it's going to require anger, resistance, hate, projecting. That's what actually feeds the upswing. And then starting to rise up, there's acceptance, there's empathetic wisdom. And slowly but surely getting close to like, look, it's already above where it started. The person is better than they were before, than all this, right? We're going to say they're right over there. There's a recognition that there's actually pragmatism here. There's room for benefit of the doubt. Start to see the bigger picture. And then the higher than before, there's been growth. There's a new baseline, right? Let's say we go up 1, 2, like 2.5 of these squares, right? Now let's do it another side where people call it narcissistic, right? Everything's normal. The person starts love bombing you. Now you would usually call this person the narcissist, but we just saw it from another angle. Let's look at it. The person is love bombing. They seem like they're infatuated with you, right? They're having a fond response. And now, as we would say in the other situation, like, come on, do something, fix it, it's not too late. There's insecurity, there's fear, there's projections, there's accusations, what we call discard, right? And then this anger is like punishment, hatred, lashing out, blame, belittling, mocking, insults, destructive, invalidating. Call it abuse, right? So we have the discard now, right? And what we would call it is this upswing, right? It gave that upswing, gave them the energy, like pushing you away, like you're worthless to me because I made you so special, and then you turned out to not care, make me so special, so now you're nothing. And we move up a little, and there's real or threats of abandonment, right? So now it's like just above the anger, like now it's like, so there's all this abuse, and then there's like the feeling like I don't even want you anymore, possessive, jealous, like now it's coming into like the traits. So first we had like the defense, right? And then it's the attack that gives it the upswing. And initially there might be some like in before it returns to like normal, a little bit of passive aggressive, and then you might be feeling you've been sucked into a narcissistic abuse cycle, right? Because you're like, how could I fix this to make it go back to where it was before? And it might seem like it didn't get better, but it did. This is my message today. And things seemingly get back to normal, but it's not just that it got back to normal. Things are at a higher level. Now, in this situation, what does higher level mean? Closer. So now, when they took you from here to here, there was a big difference between infatuation, in being infatuated with you, love bombing you. Now you're already closer to there, right? So it's actually, could be, this is like able to give us immunity. If we go through a cycle like this, and we end up closer to where we were before, in this situation, where we call it usually infatuation, discard, like like pointing the finger at you, accusing, and then even defensive, and then abusive sort of attacks, and then sort of passive aggressive, like could I give you a chat? And then they sort of like let you earn it back. You do whatever you can to fix it. In this case, you're now like closer to the person that they thought you were. You're also better off. let's leave it at that for this. It seems like back to normal. Now, it could happen again and again, but they would have to increase their feelings of who you are the next time before they drop you, and then you go up. So you're growing, even if you think you're in a narcissistic abuse cycle. That's what I want to share. Now, I want to bring in a Torah idea, which is from the Ramchal, Rabbi Moshe Chaim luzatto in mesilat Yesharim. The true me, and this is chapter 12. Mesilat Yesharim is path of the just, path of the righteous. Now, if we're on the path of the righteous, we can be taken through a loop. It could be cycles, up, down. You could like me, you could dislike me. But if I want to be clean inside and I want to be good, so true means of acquiring cleanliness is diligence of study. So we're studying our situations. We're learning from our experiences. Halacha, which is boundaries, rules of what's safe, what's not safe, permissible, not permissible. And musar, which is like the traits, like becoming a more ethical, good person. Once one attains, and I want to add that, like, for in this concept, you would have to say, how have I misled this person to think I'm here when I'm really here? Perhaps I have low self-esteem and I overcompensate by acting like this. And the person's so disappointed. I'm not this. They can't even see who I was, right? Before it goes back to the whole picture and the pragmatism. I gave you the two scenarios. The first one was easier to digest. The second one. Anyway, so once someone has zeal, like they have a drive to do good, and their watchfulness, they want to guard themselves to not do bad. There's no more obstructions besides knowledge of the fine details of the mitzvahs, the commandments that God gave us, in order to really guard oneself in all of them. Because the real thing is that we want to be not devaluing and valuing each other. We want to value Hashem, and through that, the value comes through us. We become valuable. Our value comes from Hashem. To compensate for forgetfulness, and being born unwise and reaching the extent of the branches, for example, all these situations where we might be misleading or not honest or not clean, but we made ourselves like that, so we could take responsibility for that. So with more knowledge, we learn what we didn't know. We observe from new perspectives. We draw forth new understandings from the well springs of truth, and all the detriments to watchfulness are also detriments to cleanliness. So chapter 13 now, separation. Now we go to the next level. So we're clean. I just want to be I want to have inner value, and I want to be I want to bring value to the world and to the people around me. So now you have to look at it. He stacks these. He goes through. So we did zeal, then watchfulness. We've been talking about it. We did cleanliness. Now we talk about separation. And when something's clean, you separate the dirty towel from the clean towel, right? You separate the person that causes you stress from the person that brings you peace in your life, compartments. We do need these separations, these boundaries. So that's what halacha means. You stay on the way. You don't mix everything. And musar is you find the way in you. You become the way. So all that came before was needed, everything we talked about, not just in this video, we're up to chapter 13 now, but yeah, we're starting chapter 13, but everything till chapter 13 that I've done in these videos is needed to become a tzaddik, a righteous person. Now, requirement to actually be that one, we're not going to let someone down. We'll actually know how to handle life on that level. And each time we get closer, so we shouldn't hate our teachers. God is sending them to us. So now requirements are to be a pious person. Once we've separated out the clean and dirty towels, theoretically. So being a pious person is to turn, till now it was about turning away from evil, not becoming dirty. But now it's about doing good, actively being on that level. So the intent should be to distance and separate from anything which could lead someone which may bring evil. So piousness, which we call in the Jewish term, the chassid, the one who's pious, even though it's not itself evil, the thing or causing evil, prohibited things, we stay away from. The fences and the safeguards instituted by our sages of blessed memories, decrees, we stay away, right? And we also have the personal custom distancing measures incumbent on every parush, which we call a man of separation, to build and you have to be an inner janitor in your life, to build and use cleaning products, but all spiritually, to build and withdraw, and psychologically and emotionally and physically, to build and withdraw within personal fences, to abstain from permitted things, technically permitted things, which themselves are not forbidden to every Jew, but it keeps evil from me. For example, I try not to eat very, very cakes, cookies, that kind of things these days that have a lot of sugar, because I feel, let's say, it's permitted for some people, but for me, it sort of feels like it's really important that I don't indulge in that, because it's something that could start to it's something that it gets into me, and perhaps it makes it feel like I should have more of it, but it's not necessarily what I need. I can cook healthy food for myself or eat healthy food from what's offered, what's available. Like yesterday, having a really good soup, and I saw all over cakes and treats and chocolates, and I ate this good soup, and it was very nourishing, and I had a hot drink. Okay, so we're not supposed to separate to stop enjoying life, or to, God forbid, add on to the Torah, like as if we know better than God what's right and wrong, or to be, with the ability, but we are doing it to have the ability to handle the trials of the matters of the world, and to realize our frailness, that we need to protect ourselves from evil. It's like at the feet, like when you walk on the way, you're walking with your feet. If something attacks your foot, it attacks you. So, there's no worldly pleasure which doesn't draw after it some sin at its heel. So let's say some examples. Let's say someone drinks a lot of wine. It brings something called licentiousness, which is filling the belly. Which is like not such a kosher way of interacting with men and women, or it's even like a little lusty, inappropriate. If you overfill your belly, it removes the yoke of heaven. When one time you lack the habit that you usually have, like of eating that kind of food or that much, it'll greatly pain and disturb you, versus somebody who just keeps it down. Like you get used to something, like someone who's used to eating 3 cheeseburgers every day, and then they become like more like they want to follow the Torah. They don't eat meat and milk together, so they've now made it harder for themselves because they did something forbidden, and now they made it harder. Now imagine if you're used to eating 3 burgers a day. So it's like, if you only get 1 burger, it's hard for you. So we just have to look at it like that. Like, what are we making ourselves accustomed to? And if somebody is like, feeling like they can never get enough of these pleasures and of desires, and they don't want to separate from it, it's like over toiling in work, over acquiring possessions, even leading to theft, wrongdoing, false oaths, taking a person away from their divine service, their Torah study, their prayer. If he did not chase it or get drawn after the pleasures to begin with, he would have spared himself all that. And it's also that we don't want to imprint lust into ourselves. Because, like, for example, the Torah does not say that a man should not have a seminal emission. However, 2 men were killed for having specifically seminal emissions. They were brothers, instead of impregnating their wife. They didn't want kids. They were against the force of creation. They just wanted their pleasure. So they ended up dying, and it says it's because of what they did. It was evil in God's eyes to specifically not bring children in the world and waste their semen. So it's saying, why would someone bring lust into too much seminal emission into their nature? In other words, their wife might be not permitted at that time because she has her period, or in the days for some other reason, and she's not clean. They separate, so then they have like an involuntary. But let's say they kind of force it, like they push for it and they keep doing it. It imprints in their nature. It's what becomes part of like our code, our energy patterns. Same with arrogance, that could be imprinted in the pattern. If someone keeps on wearing too many fancy clothing and ornaments and so on like that, it could, it gives rise to jealousy, lust, oppressing others, and even the idea of bittul Torah, like, which is neglecting Torah study, which is incumbent upon us. So let's say someone has too many conversations, or always like shooting the SHIT, as they say, strolling around, looking. Eventually they're drawn after slander, lies, frivolity, since all matters of this world are nothing but grave dangers. How could he who wants to escape from them and strive to distance from them not be deemed praiseworthy? So I feel that's enough for today. All the best. Bye.